What's going on? And welcome to the Peak Podcast. My name is Kyle Nelson. And as always, got Mr. Eli Libby here, my good friend and business partner. How is your day going, Mr. Libby?
Great, man. It's a great Tuesday so far.
It is.
What pumps me up are our masterminds that we lead. On these days, Tuesdays, I get fired up, man. It's amazing energy.
Well, it's a hangover of energy because we do our mastermind right off the bat. We know we need to bring a lot of energy, and so then we're just like, I think it'd be different if we did like a 3 p.m.
For sure. What do you think about the term hangover of energy?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think most people would be like, oh, like I don't have energy, but I'm bringing it like
I like it. I love it. I just wanted to hear.
Maybe it's a continued buzz. I don't know.
Ooh, that's it right there.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here on the Peak Podcast. If you haven't listened in before, this podcast is all about interviewing, having conversations with other CEOs, business owners, entrepreneurs, and coaches to learn what that peak moment was in life before what they got going on. It's usually a really cool story to listen and see why are you doing what you're doing today? Because there must have been something pretty cool that happened.
100.
Outside of that, we are the co-founders of Peak Fulfillment. We help people go on self-guided solo retreats to ultimately find clarity in life, to turn off the noise, and to really sit down for 3 days by yourself with some guidance and understand what you need to answer to get the answer you're looking for. But without further ado, we have Steve Conwell. He is the CEO of Final Ascent. Steve, welcome to the Peak Podcast.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excited to have you here, man.
Yes.
We've talked a lot, or a little bit in the pre-chat that you and I had, but to kind of kick us off, is there a word of the year that you're kind of focusing on?
I like
to do
that.
a little bit of an icebreaker. What would one word be that it's kind of a pinnacle for the year of 2025 for you?
Yeah, I would say focus.
Yeah.
It is a big year, right? I think a lot of companies, just in general, will be good at a certain thing, but they start to expand out their capabilities, doing too much.
Sure.
So for us, it's just stay focused, stay laser focused on what we're trying to accomplish as a business. I think it works well personally as well. So we're in a big health kick with our family. So my son, daughter, and I, and wife are all, got this text thread going. Hey, worked out here, dropped text, did this, just to get everybody motivated and stay focused for that.
Accountability. I think staying focused, you got to have that accountability after it. That's key when it comes to focus.
That's really cool, man. Are you feeling good? I mean, you've been doing this health kick for a little bit. Are you guys feeling good?
Yeah, when you go down that process, like for me, the way my brain's hardwired, it's just execution, thinking it through, but then seeing the results. And what you hit the nail on the head, those accountability partners,
Huge.
It's extremely helpful, right? Somebody that can just say, hey, great job, or hey, you missed X, or forgot to post this, or whatever, and just achieving those. I kind of like the journey to the end of the year would be great. Drop X, lean out here, get into X gene sizes, whatever. But I think it's that kind of weekly small nuggets that you hit, those little stair steps.
Sure.
And it's the journey that matters the most, right? And it usually changes you mentally, physically. I mean, there's all kinds of roles that get impacted positively by doing that.
That's really cool, man.
Awesome.
I'm super excited to hear that. And like you have that clarity around what keeps you rolling. That's where most fall off is they don't know what it is that keeps them moving, makes them tick. And for you, that accountability and just that kind of pat on the back saying, Steve, you killed it this week, man.
Yeah, it's the little wins.
Yeah, it is.
So I saw this little post on Conor McGregor, and he was talking about, big fighter, right? And he said, I knew I was supposed to get up at this time to work out, and I didn't do it. And I knew I was supposed to be eating this, and I didn't do it. And I knew I was supposed to be working at X intensity. And he goes, I wasn't getting those little wins. And it's those little wins that allow you to achieve great things because you're depositing them right into your psyche, into your mindset. Just those little positive things that help you when the chips are down, right? Because you've had enough deposited in your bank to say, okay, well, it's really tough right now, but I'm fine and I'm positive and I'm happy and I'm succeeding.
Wow.
As I reflect on that, it's like the big wins almost kind of throw your psyche off. It's like too much of a dopamine hit. Then you hit that big win for a while.
Yeah. Or what happens is you get the dopamine hit off of the negative things that are happening. Right. And so instead of getting dopamine off of the little wins, you're getting it off of sitting on Instagram for 30 minutes, right? Or staying up late and playing on your phone, or watching, X sitcom for the 50th time.
Yeah.
And so that dopamine hit, you can get it the other way. You can get dopamine hits actually going through pain, right? And so that crucible of pain that delivers that, wow, that super hard workout, a dopamine hit, awesome. I get the same thing, stuffing down 2 cheeseburgers and fries and a shake, right? I'd rather get it from working hard and going through that pain, because ultimately your short-term sacrifices will lead to, big gains downstream.
Sure. That's wild. I love I love the power of the mind in understanding what dopamine does and how it can really positively influence your momentum. But also understanding the flip side of it. I think saying eating cheeseburgers is also dopamine. But how do you rewire your brain to say, like, no, this is the dopamine that I want?
Right.
With the hardworking stuff. Steve, thanks for riffing back and forth on that with us. That's what we talk about today. That's what we do in our program. That's what we help people find. There's a lot of the stuff you're talking about and finding that clarity. That's what our program does. Are you a reader? Do you read a lot, Steve?
I read a ton. I drive my wife crazy because I'm always reading like 3 or 4 books at a time.
Yeah, it sounds like you're into kind of the sport world as well. I got a recommendation for this one book that I'm going to read is my next book. It's written by Bill Walsh, the old coach of the 49ers.
Yep.
And it says the book is called The Score Takes Care of Itself. And it's his philosophy on leadership. But a big part of it is he talks about the whole process and the journey of that. And when you said that, it clicked my mind when you said Conor McGregor. Might be a cool book for you to check out. It's my next book. It's called The Score Takes Care of Itself. So
yeah, I like that. I mean, all the lonely time, right? And the getting up. You listen to like Kobe Bryant talking about working out. Getting up at 4 to 6, and then 10 to 12, and then 2 to 4, and then 6 to 8. And he's getting on average. So somebody that's working out 4 hours a day, he's getting 8 hours a day. And I mean, over years, I mean, it's ungodly the amount of like extra time these great people put in to be successful. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll check the book out for sure.
Very cool.
Let's briefly just jump in today with what you got going on with Final Ascent, and then we can kind of jump into the meat and potatoes of your story.
Yeah, I mean, we're really expanding like referral relationships and cultivating those, and just been in years of developing relationships. So we've actually been really excited to see in 2025 that continued expansion. I mean, I finished a proposal before this call, got another account that we're expanding, got another one coming on the bus, another referral from last week we're working on, like a $40 million plumbing company looking to sell. Nice. So, a lot of it, like relationship building, I hate the word networking, right? Yes. Because what I found with networking is, people come, they go talk all about themselves, right? But they're not being servant leaders, and they're not like harvesting relationships, right? And cultivating them over time, because it may be 5 years down the road and you might help so-and-so, or they might help you, or vice versa. But if you haven't cultivated a relationship, then things tend to not pan out. I've got this mantra I always say to myself, like, I just believe if you help enough other people, things tend to pan out over time, right? It's we being a giver, not a taker, and expanding that out. So this has been a kind of a big thing for us, because we do the exit planning and like growth consulting for firms, usually 3 years out and in, wanting to exit their businesses, and then taking them through the whole sales process and exit journey so they can have a life, after, and go achieve, the next goals and objectives, or retire and spend time with their family. So exciting to see that in the business as well, and all the lower middle market accounts that we work with. But ultimately for us, it's a lot just about, you got to be an entrepreneurial nerd. You got to like love these business owners and love what they do and get excited about it. And just remember, man, like back when we started our first company, remember what it's like, and remember that little baby that they're going to go give to somebody else, and how tough it is. So I don't know. It's fun. I mean, it's really fun. I mean, we're excited about 2025 and all the possibilities, and looking forward downstream as well.
How long have you been working on Final Ascent?
We started it in 2017. I did as a precursor to learning about exit planning when I was an interim CFO for a company that they were going to sell it. And I'd never heard of exit planning. So I sold my first company. We built it and started in 2002, grew it to 90 people. We had a IT finance and accounting technology firm and an IT risk consulting firm all kind of wrapped together. And in 2008, we sold it to the number 9 public accounting firm. Thought we did great.
Wow.
So then flash forward and we have an exit advisor kind of working. And I start looking at this stuff and going, this is interesting, because a lot of this stuff I haven't heard of, And as I reflected back, I think we probably left $3 or $4 million on the table and didn't even know.
Wow.
And the next year, that's when I started Final Ascent, because I worked at EY. I've done external audit, IT audit, internal audit, management consulting. All this stuff, operations, and all the background, BSMS in accounting. Like, I had no idea.
Sure.
And how many other folks out there don't know, and they're leaving tons of money on the table, tons of enterprise value, and don't even realize it. So that's why we started the company. It was just, my gosh, we got to help.
I love it.
It matters a lot, for sure.
Do you think it's, and I think I know the answer to this, more commonly than not that people are leaving quite a bit of money on the table? And on top of that, is it because they just don't have an advisor or a mentor or someone to help walk them through it? Or what does that relationship typically look like?
Yeah, it's a couple things. Not having strong advisors early in the process is extremely helpful. If you don't, what you don't know can hurt you, right? Because enterprise value is not dictated by how great you are as an entrepreneur. It's looking at your business not with all the hats you wear, but as a seller would, and how buyers look at your business. And when you do it that way, what I've found with business owners is that they're willing to, now I'm willing to listen, because you're not telling them a baby's ugly. You're saying, here's what you do really well that enhances your enterprise value, and here are opportunities for improvement, and here's why.
Love that.
And then you're able to, at that stage, be able to say, okay, well, the reason why we're working on X is because this is going to, let's say, increase your top line and improve your margins here. It will increase your bottom line this way. So quantitatively increases your value. But then we also improved your cash flow. We, in your commoditized industry, came up with something different that makes you unique and creates a defendable moat around your business. So you're different from your competition. We freed up owner dependency so that, the business isn't relying on you. If you bail, business bails too. So all of that stuff just comes together. And I found that once buyers start looking at their business the way they should look at it, by maximizing their enterprise value, once that shift occurs, it's incredibly eye-opening. Absolutely, mind-blowing, the difference. And they start going, oh my gosh, if I do X, there's a little statement, hey, I saved 10 grand my business expenses. Well, that's worth 70 grand. What are you talking about? Well, you're trading at a 7x multiple. So really, you just made 70K net.
Wow, what a cool thing to compare with.
Yeah, their brain, all of a sudden when it shifts, they're like, holy cow, I didn't think about that. Or, you improved your gross margins by 5%. But what does that mean? It just drops down to your net profits and increased them by 20%, which increased you now that's half a multiple, or maybe potentially a multiple. So that little 5% change just impacted by, $600,000-$700,000 enterprise value lift.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy.
And most people don't realize that, for sure. We went through the whole selling of a business, and the last hour it didn't go through. And I think if we had someone that was guiding us through it early on, it definitely would have 100%.
Early on, absolutely. Kind of like a fractional business partner that's helping you figure out the exit. So,
yeah, it's such an interesting thing. You look at after a sale. Because if they've never been through that journey, they don't realize the emotional roller coaster they're going to go through. It just goes up and down, And later, after they sell it, if they haven't resolved, why are you selling? What does life look like after the sale? And they get the right advice through the process.
Yeah.
If they don't, what happens is later they'll feel empty inside.
Sure.
Whether they think about it or not, logically, no, it won't happen. I'm fine. I understand it. but then all their friends have gone away because they were wrapped up in the business, right? They're not now known as big CEO and owner of X. And then they start going, well, all the stuff I learned about selling the company, like as I reflect back, I'd have done it differently.
Mm-hmm.
And that would have fixed things, because all these objectives from these buyers, I'm like, we could have resolved that. We could have had that in place. We could have done X. And that's the killer. And that's why we're here, is to just help these folks so that they, when it happens and when they achieve the American dream, they can reflect back and be super proud. Their business is growing with the next generation of entrepreneur that's taking them to the next level. They've got multi-generational wealth, and life is good on that back half of their journey.
It's powerful, man. Well, as we wrap up here, Steve, we're coming up into time. What would, if you had one thing to leave with our audience, some piece of inspiration, or again, something you would leave them, what would that be?
It's going to sound kind of cliche, but I would say, like, look in the mirror.
Sure.
One of the biggest things that happened to me when I was 25, I worked at Ernst & Young in external audit, and there was like a personality type that literally, like, I could be exactly right. 2 + 2 = 4. And they would go, it's 5. And an argument begins, right? Going back and forth. And I kept going, like, I don't understand it. Like, I know I'm right on X. The epiphany to me, I was getting ready in the morning. I looked in the mirror and I go, what if I'm the problem? Like, what if it's me?
You looked in the mirror?
Yeah, look in the mirror. And so I started reading all these, soft skill books and emotional intelligence and putting your best foot forward and all these things. And I learned, right? And I think that oftentimes, like most challenges, like if we're to just internally reflect and think, what can I do to help resolve X or to make something better, and just look at it that way, I think we'd resolve all kinds of problems on this planet for sure. So that would be, some big advice. And the other thing is just roll your sleeves up and do the right thing.
Love that.
So many times people, they're working hard, but they're not working on something that is going to give you the greatest benefit. And so, like what you guys do with that 3 days of really resetting and understanding, this is what my purpose is. This is what I'm going to do with my life, and maybe multiple roles. You can spend a whole lot of time and 60 hours a week and really accomplish nothing in the grand scheme of things.
So true, man. Wow. Very, very true.
Well, Steve, thank you so much for joining us. If people wanted to connect with you, learn more about Final Ascent, where do you want to send them?
LinkedIn is great. Steve Conwell, you'll find me on LinkedIn pretty easy. My email address is sconwell, that's C-O-N as in Nancy, W-E-L-L, @finalascent.com.
Awesome. Well, Steve,
Beautiful.
Thank you so much for joining us, man.
Amazing.
That was awesome. I think the work that you're doing, from my perspective, it's got to be just really fulfilling for you to help people actually through.
Exactly.
Not just to build to sell, but you're also helping them scale throughout that process so they can actually, live out what they're looking to live out. So thank you for the work.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, guys. It's been a lot of fun.
Awesome. Want to grab the?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys,
thank you so much for joining us here on the Peak Podcast. Again, another great episode. Steve's really the man. Love the work that he's doing. Like I was saying,
cultivating relationships is my favorite part. I love it.
Final Ascent, Peak Fulfillment. They kind of have
a lot.
Very
I
similar
see Peak
names.
Values coming up on his side
kind
here.
Of a
So
the name is
very,
kind of a
very
trip.
great.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here on the Peak Podcast. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. And if you want to listen to great people just like Steve on the podcast, make sure to join us on the next one. Talk to you soon.
See you guys.